Hey everybody, it's T Baby, and welcome back to the Mad Queens Presents. And we're going to talk about Game of Thrones, the first episode for season 8, the final season. AK will be in here shortly, so don't worry. But let the ladies introduce themselves, starting off with my Sansa, who I'm just so happy is just here. I love her, and none of y'all can call her your Sansa. She will always be my Sansa, Timo.
Hi guys, it's good to be back. I missed you all. My name is Timo. Yeah, so ready to discuss this episode. I tried really hard not to hate Sansa more, but they surprised me and made me hate her a lot. So I'll try to tone it down a little bit. I'll try. So it's
Don't
good to be
even.
back. I'll
I
try.
love it. Just makes me feel warm inside. And of course, let's go to my beauty queen. Introduce yourself.
What's good, everyone? Manaro here, ready to discuss this first episode of the final season of Game of Thrones. Ooh, I need to move my hand out my mouth. That is so unprofessional.
I'm so glad this is happening. It's the final season. And AK here. But let's move on to my girl, my twin, Lady Diligence. Introduce yourself.
Hey guys, Lady D. Thanks for coming out and hanging out with us. I'm excited to talk about this episode. I kind of feel like we just need to hurry it along, get to episode 3, but I'm excited to talk about it. And yeah, I'm really happy that this is the last. Not happy that it's the last season, but I'm excited that we're finally getting an ending because we probably won't get the books. Like just give up.
Don't say that.
Give up. Give up.
That's terrible. And last but not least, my AK, please introduce yourself.
What's good, familia? Sorry that I was late. My apologies. Hey, everybody in the chat.
You came just in time, so really you're not even late.
Awesome. Is that a Timo I see sitting there? What? What's going on, my darling? It's so awesome to see your pretty face. Welcome back.
All right. So now that the squad is here, let's really talk about it. Oh, before we get through, I just want to know, can you guys hear everyone okay in the chat? Just let me know yes, no, maybe. That would help me a lot. Okay. I guess you guys can hear me okay. So I want to know you guys' first impressions of the episode in general. So I'm gonna go with you, Beauty Queen, first. What was your overall thoughts of the episode? Did you really enjoy it? Did you not really enjoy it?
I thought it was okay. I had just maybe 2 or 3 moments, but for the most part, it really didn't do anything for me. I guess because it was like, at the end of the day, to me, it just looked like the setup episode, because they're trying to put everybody in place where they are supposed to be, I guess. So, but I felt like a lot of the supposed key moments didn't really end up having the effect, I guess, the show was at least to me. You know what I mean? I just think certain things just kind of fell kind of flat for me. So overall, I thought it was okay. It wasn't anything for me to be like I wasn't as excited as I thought I was going to be, because I had certain expectations about how, or I played out in my head how I expected certain things to play out, and it didn't play out that way. And so that disappointed me. So it was just okay to me. Aside from a few moments, it was okay to me.
Yeah, they had some good moments, so I'm not even gonna lie. B, overall thoughts, did you really enjoy it? Did you think it was just okay, or did you hate it?
I thought it could have been better, honestly. I wanted it to be a little bit more full of action, I guess, and it didn't have the action I was expecting. And then additionally, it felt rushed at some points, and also it kind of seemed like, okay, well, they're just doing fan service at the risk of like telling the story. For example, John on the dragon, like that moment really should have been like a bigger moment. Like it should have been some amazing, like, oh my gosh, like, you know, not them basically playing chicken over a ravine. Like I just felt like it could have been better. There are definitely things that they could have, either things where they knocked out the park, and then there were things where it was like, okay, this could be better. So I agree with Beauty Queen as far as the setup goes. Yeah, I definitely think that this was more of like if you could have, and I made this joke, I was on the phone with my best friend earlier, and I was like, we really could have just titled that episode tying up loose ends, like loose ends. Like he could have just named it that. Like we're gonna tie all these up so that we can start something else. I would have liked to see them actually take the last hearth in some way. Like I know you can't give us the whole, you know, because that's what episode 3 is about, but I would have liked to see something actually go down there. Something, maybe somebody coming yelling and screaming from last hearth, anything. But it, you know, I guess like this is the first episode of the season. I'm gonna give them that, but real talk, it's got to get better than this because this is the final season. Like it has got to be better than this.
That's interesting. Timo, what did you think overall of the episode? Did you love it? Was it okay, or did you just not like it?
I guess I'm like the resident like fangirl in the group. Like, mind you, I went into the season completely like cold. Like, I only saw the trailer. I didn't see any videos. I didn't like anything. So I went in there like very hyped for it, and my expectations for it wasn't like, oh, it's going to be like this amazing. I was like, oh, it's a pilot episode. It's probably going to be like chill. I thought it was really good for a pilot, like not pilot, a first, premiere episode. I thought it was really good. They blew me away, like just scene after scene. They had me cheering. They had me cursing. They had me scared. They had me like it was an emotional roller coaster, like all over. They went above my expectations. I don't know if that's because my expectation for premiere was, I don't know. I just figured it wouldn't be that intense, but it was. So I
do agree with you on that.
Yeah, and just as a blanket statement, I think the actors have come such a long way from season 1 that they brought so much just in this episode. It just did a lot for me. Like Sam, John, they've come such a long way, and I enjoyed the episode a lot, and I've watched it a few times, and I enjoy it every time.
Okay, and AK, what do you think overall? Did you love it, hate it? Was it okay?
Pretty much with Timo. Like she was in my chat room last night, and we were just going back and forth over little parts. You know, we shared in the wanting to smack Sansa upside the head or maybe kick her in the throat every couple times. Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few other characters that we were going in on. It was up and down. You know, there's definitely some more action that could have come in, but I thought it was good. And the opening sequence was everything also. So yeah, I was happy with it.
I'm like in the middle where it was a lot of good moments in there, which I really enjoyed. And then some where it's like, that bothered me a little too much. Especially when it came to John riding the dragon, just because maybe I don't remember them saying that it was exclusively only like Targaryens can ride dragons in the show, but I think it's like, I don't know. That scene kind of bothered me that she was just like, okay, hop on a dragon. Like, I know that I'm getting too deep into that, but that kind of bothered me. But then you had like key moments, like how it ended. I love that. And then I love like Bran saying, we don't have time for this shit. Best moment for me. So, and then I get where you're saying, where it's like, I wanted it to come out with like the Night King swinging, like we saw him break the wall. So we're thinking like, show us right where we left off. But I still kind of enjoyed how they made it creepy though, instead of showing us like exactly what happened, but at the end, how they set it up, I wasn't like mad at that. I did enjoy that. So I'm really in the middle about it. But let's start off with the opening scenes, basically, of what do we think about Jon and Daenerys and Sansa, of him basically giving up the North. I'm gonna start off with my Sansa first. Let's get this Sansa hate off. Let's just get your issues off. What do you think? Like, what was your thoughts about the whole meeting, Daenerys and Sansa, like their first meeting, and like how they don't like each other? What do you think of that?
I have so many problems with the North. Like, not problems like writing wise, but problems where I just wanted to punch everybody in the face. I'm so tired of Jon having to prove to everybody, like, I'm trying to save your asses. First, Sansa is like, okay, she's mean to Dany because Dany brings the army and she brings dragons to save her ass. And she says, oh, what do dragons eat anyway? I would have been like, people, bitch. Like, I mean, I'm trying to save your ass. Sansa gets mean to Jon, saying, oh, you bent the knee and, and you brought a girl home. Why does she care who he's fucking? Like, that's not his bitch, right? Mm-hmm. Then she's mean to Tyrion, who was the only nice person to her in King's Landing. Meanwhile, this is after she had Ramsay. Rest in peace, Ramsay. This is after she had Ramsay, so you would think that she'd be a little, like, I don't know. And I'd have been like, no, I don't trust Cersei. I mean, that's my girl and everything, but I'd be like, no, I don't trust Cersei. But I mean, you said we don't have food, so that's less mouths to feed. I mean, you're just being mean for no reason. She just has this stuck up attitude about her. Just has this stank face. This, like, she knows everything all of a sudden. And I don't understand, when did this happen? Like, when did she become this all-knowing person? Like, did Bran, like, share something with her that we don't know about? Is that going to be, I mean, why does she act like she knows everything? Honestly, if I was Jon and Dany, seeing those, walking past those, I'd be like, you know what, Lyanna Mormont, you know what, you disrespectful, disloyal Northern Lords, because they ain't never been loyal. Again, rest in peace, Ramsay. But they switched sides real quick, so they ain't never been loyal in the first place. So disrespectful, disloyal Northern Lords and them dirty peasants, I'd have been like, fuck all y'all. I'm taking my army, my dragons, and my bitch, and we're going south. They're gonna kill y'all, and then we're gonna handle it. Because I'd be like, I'm done explaining. Like, I'm tired of watching Jon explain stuff to people. I mean, it's been 8 years, and he's like, he's trying to save the world, and everybody's just like, oh, prove it. What? Just get it done with already. I mean, he went to go get an army, and now Sansa's just like, oh, you brought an army, and I don't have enough food. Really?
But that is a good point, though. Like, how is she going to feed everyone? I mean, they might starve because of all the people that are there. Like, that is a issue, though.
And I would say, okay, you know what? Don't worry about it. We're going to keep marching south because my dragons don't like the cold, and, there's better food south anyway. So we'll wait. You stay up here. That's what I would have said. We see that apparently Night King is already, last Hearth, and that's not too far away from Winterfell. So, I mean, what they going to do? The peasants going to fight?
Well, I thought they was making everyone fight.
And then look like to me, she worried about food. She should have had some people training. They were too busy looking at the armies walking in, like, oh, they all had the same faces. I don't know what they made. They made the North so just fickle.
I gotta, and this is like, I'm real rare with this, so.
Wait, before you start getting nice on Sansa, I don't like where this is heading.
You already hear it. You already hear it. I don't never do that.
Your tone is disgusting. Go ahead.
Disgusting. I can't with you. Y'all know I don't like show Sansa. Y'all know that I'm not a fan of her at all. Especially last season, the last season that we saw, well, before actually was Battle of the Bastards, so season 6. You almost let Jon die. Like it was a whole lot. You know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, she had to learn how to play the game. And what I'm saying about Sansa, and y'all, I don't like Sansa. Sansa has learned how to play the game, you guys. Like, it's that simple. Sansa learned how to play. Like, she learned from Cersei, Littlefinger, and Tyrion. Sansa ain't no game, y'all. I'm sorry. I sat there and was like, listen. A couple times I had to go, oh, Sansa, what? Listen, for you to have a queen come up on you and be like, your country is beautiful, you're beautiful, this and that. Thank you for letting me stay in your castle. And all you got is the one line, Winterfell is yours, your grace. Listen, the read, y'all, the next level read that Sansa was on. And she's right. She's right. Jon right now is taking the role of Torrhen, right? He's the king that knelt. Granted, she wasn't coming up there to burn them or whatever. Okay, she is the queen that he's the king that knelt. And so now he's a lord, whatever he's supposed to be, like Little Mormont said. And that's definitely going to be an issue politically. And the only person thinking about these political issues is Sansa. Davos, you weren't thinking about that. If so, you would have said something to this fool down there, like, the North might have an issue, and that's because you're from the South, so you don't understand how Northerners are, how cagey they are, how distrustful of Southerners they are, and why they should be. Think about it. In the last 15 years, 20-something years, 23 years, in the last 23 years, the North has legit had like 3 freaking wars with people that are not a part of the North. Greyjoy's Rebellion, the War of the Five Kings, Robert's Rebellion, and it's always because somebody in the South does something stupid, and then they have to go down there and fight and lose their lives. So these are, fathers and uncles and brothers and stuff like that that are never going to come back to the North, and people feel that after years and years. Like, could you imagine having your father die in Robert's Rebellion, and then like your son or something like that die in the War of the Five Kings, and now here's Jon bringing a Targaryen up here who we just fought to get up, from up under? You're going to have a problem with that. And I think that Sansa was right on the money. Additionally, winter is here. Timo, like, y'all know I'm not a fan of Sansa, but winter is here. Like, food is real. Food is like gold. So yeah, I would seriously have a problem with you bringing the largest host known to men to Winterfell, where we don't have food anyway because it's the fucking winter. So where are we going to get food from? Right. Why wouldn't y'all bring food with y'all? And you got 2 grown dragons. What the hell are we supposed to do right now? She has a point. Like, come on. And then I got to say kudos to Sansa. That's something I had in my notes. Kudos, Sansa, because you're talking about you have enough food to get us through the winter, which means all the people that were already there, all that, you calculated, all right, we need enough food to last this many people for the winter, which would be years before you found out, it's about to be a long night. That means that you sat there and did what you needed to do to have enough food to take care of all of these hundreds of people, however many were in Winterfell at the time, for years in order to get through a winter. Like, that is some serious management on her part. So for her to do all that work and for you to then bring 10,000 Unsullied, 10,000 fucking Dothraki, 2 grown freaking dragons, like, no, they're going to run out of food in like a week. And then what happens?
The Night King will be there before a week's out.
No, but we know now that they'll be there for a week, but she didn't know that. How the hell
Sansa knows they're on the way?
She knows now because they just broke through the wall, but she didn't just gather that food, AK, for all those people. She's been working on that since like season 6. Think about it. Since she got up to Winterfell, because winter was there, getting all of that food together. And now you're basically saying, well, fuck you and all your work, because I got 20,000 extra people that you need to figure out how to feed now.
So, AK, what do you think about the whole Sansa and Dany situation?
So, the whole shade with her, it's girls and chicks be like that. I can see why they would clash, but when it got to the conversation with her talking to John, like, well, did you love her, or did you do this for the North, or all that other stuff? I mean, it was just something there. I'm like, wait a minute, D&D. Well, what are y'all doing with this triangle that you seem to be trying to put up? It just looks off. And I get what you're saying, B, but I don't think they would have been traveling there empty-handed. I'm sure they would have bought some supplies. Granted, it's definitely going to make things tough, I know, but what would we do without the army there? The grand scheme of things, the big picture, you need all those troops. Even if they didn't know about the wall falling just yet, they know that that army has been on the march, and they don't have that much time until they actually have to get to this fight. So when you send, you know, the boy goes off and he comes back with the soldiers and the dragons and all that, the first thing you should do is, well, the first thing you shouldn't do is give him attitude for it. What if Danny just said, all right, well, I'm going to take my Unsullied, I'm going to take my Dothraki and my dragons and fuck the hell off back to the Dragonstone. Y'all handle the shit. Then everybody would be mad at Danny because she didn't stay to fight.
Wait, though, AK, but then
as well. But before you say something, I really want to get Beauty Queen's thoughts on it, and then I'll go back to you guys so y'all can hash it out. What do you think, Beauty Queen?
I like Sansa this episode. I thought she was on the money about everything. That's just my personal opinion. John, to me, acted like some guy who brought a girlfriend home that he wants everybody to love. He wants his sisters to like her. He wants his brother to like her. He wants his best friend to like her because he likes her. Let me just say this point because I think it's going to preface the rest of everything that I'm going to say. Mm-hmm. The Iron Throne was lost by the Targaryen. To me, Dany has no right to it. She has to earn it back. She doesn't have any right to it. It was the Targaryens to lose. They lost it to Robert. It was the Baratheons to lose. They lost it to the Lannisters. So now it's the Lannisters to lose, Cersei's to lose. So if Dany's going to get the Iron Throne back, it's because she's doing it through conquest, not because it was her right to have it. That's just my own personal opinion. Because when you think about kingdoms, kingdoms have kings and rulers. And yes, they do have a dynasty and a line of succession, but it's always their kingdom to lose by somebody who has the bigger army, who has the better army. It's always your kingdom to lose. And that's just something that has happened through history. How many different dynasties have we had through history? And they all had a line of succession. You know what I mean? We've had monarchies, and it was always their throne to lose. So I think, to me, I think Sansa and the North have a right to be leery of Dany, her dragons, and all that other stuff. Yes, they came there to help. Yes, John, in a sense, bent the knee. To me, I think it was twofold. He bent the knee because he liked her, and he bent the knee because he needed her help. So it served two purposes. And I think Sansa had every right to ask him, why did you bend the knee? Did you do it because you like her, or did you really want to save the North? I think that's a fair question to ask, because when you left home, you were a king. You're coming back, not one. What is the deal? I think everybody in the North has a right to ask that question. Yes, John did it in a sense to save his home, and that was the main reason why he did it. But let's not forget, he did screw her. So I think there are some feelings of intimacy and attachment and love also that comes into play with that. So it's not all about just saving the North. So I think all of the lords, everybody had a right to question John about that, because if we elect you as our king, and now you're coming back to tell us that you're no longer our king, and now we have to, bend the knee to this woman, to this Targaryen, we have a right to, kind of feel some kind of way about it. So I don't think their attitude was too far off. I don't think Sansa's attitude was too far off, because also remember, Sansa has been a political victim from the time she came into King's Landing. And her thing is, she's no longer trying to stay a political victim. She's trying to stay on the end where her and her people don't have to suffer anymore under the whims of whoever is ruling. You know what I mean? This was them electing Jon was them, in a sense, kind of exercising their agency and their freedom to be able to rule over themselves without having to worry about dealing with outsiders. And so now I don't think it was so much about them bringing the army. I think it was so much about now they feel like they have to subjugate. They are now being subjugated again. I don't think they don't appreciate having the armies there. It's the condition under which the armies came there. They're not there as allies. They're there as, now we have to fight under this banner of the Targaryen. We're not fighting as an independent North. I don't know if I'm making sense, but I think that's what the problem was. I don't think they had a problem with them having help. I think it was the condition under which the help came. And, people can argue, who cares how it comes? I think as a matter of pride and Northern pride and a sense of self and agency, it matters a lot, especially when we're talking about the times under which, they are operating. And I think Sansa is playing the political game, because again, at the end of the day, she has to make sure that not only herself, but the people that she feels responsible for, you know what I mean? And that her family ends up at the top. She's playing chess, not checkers. And to me, Dany doesn't understand the politics of Westeros. So she's just operating under the idea that I'm a Targaryen, this is my throne, and I have a right to it, and I have a right to rule. But she's not really understanding what the true politics of where she's actually coming to rule. She doesn't know Westeros. And I don't think she's really taking the time to know Westeros. I don't really think that she's taking the time to understand. And I think that really comes into play in her scene with Sam, which I know we're not going to, but I think that really kind of really gives you a sense, not only from the time when she came to the North, but that little scene that she had with Samwell Tarly, I think that really kind of solidifies as to how much she really does not know the people that she is so-called trying to be queen of. And I'll just leave it at that.
Can I say one thing really, really quickly? Ice and Fire Con is coming up, and I'm just extremely excited because I'm going to be with my homegirls again. And I've missed talking to Manara about these things because she goes into them little monologues, and they're always awesome.
Yeah. Okay, I'll just put my 2 cents in there. I'm going to piss off a lot of you Sansa haters, and I'm sorry. Sorry, Timo. Get your drink ready. Okay, make it a double. This might hurt. The one thing is that Sansa is acting so much like Cersei, and I know people hate that, but if you think
you dare,
I'm sorry, that's why get the double drink. Get the double drink in. Get the double drink. I'm sorry. Listen.
Curse my Lannister name with that.
Stop it, Timo.
We
can't move past it until she's done talking. Cut it out.
No, she's not allowed to curse my Lannister family.
I'm sorry, but it's true, because when she met up, when Dany met up with Cersei, she was trying to give her showing her all her might and all of that, and she wasn't trying to be intimidating to the North, but Dany was smiling when she saw the dragons, because they was giving her like death stares, like, we don't like you, and she was smiling when she knew that the dragons were intimidating. I did not like that. But what I need to say about Sansa and Cersei is that she acted just like Cersei when she met Dany. Cersei just looked up and down and just got straight to business. And when Sansa, same thing, just looked you up down, just say, hey, Winterfell is yours. Same thing also that I thought was interesting when they was first meeting, Damn it, Timo, you threw me off. I forgot what I was about to say.
Good.
Anyway, she acts like she's acting like Cersei. Basically, she's not intimidated by her army and her dragons and all of that. And she has a right to also question Jon when it comes to the North, because you have to remember the North been fighting for their independence since the first season. And Jon just gave it away. And everyone could say, no, he had to bend the knee. But if you go back to last season, Dany said after she saw it, she said, I will fight with you, not for you, not you fight against. She said, I'll fight with you. She did not ask to bend the knee. When he says, my queen, she says, are you sure that they will be okay with it? He says, they will get to know you. So he did not have to bend the knee, which goes back to it being a good question. Did you really bend it because for the North, or did you bend it because you love her? And she has not done anything for the North to show love for her. She's coming in and just burning people, saying, you either with me or I'm gonna burn you. And Esso, she did not do that. She gave them options, say, I want to liberate you guys. All she's doing is becoming the same thing. I'm just going to take over. She does not know how to rule. And you see that through her mistakes, because she doesn't know, like, okay, you need to just chill out for a while. We need to talk this shit through. She doesn't do that. She just says, oh, you're not with me? Okay, I'm going to burn you. She almost killed Jon. If it wasn't for what happened to her when Jon met her and they attacked Lady Olenna and the Dorne, she would have either burnt Jon or she would have imprisoned him. And they all said, don't go up there. So she doesn't know that thin line. So it was reasons why they started to get to know each other. But before, if that incident didn't happen, they wouldn't even have that option to get to know each other. Second of all, that I know is going to piss you off about Sansa is that, once again, she has to, if she doesn't show that she's also with the North, then Jon is going to continuously lose more people. They already lost the Glovers. They didn't even show up. The Umbers was kind of late, but they still tried to come. But she's also been keeping the North together, trying to hold it down. She told Jon that they are going to have an issue. Don't go down there, send someone else. And he refused. He never listens to her counsel. He thinks that he even tells Arya, like, she thinks she's the smartest person. He does not respect her opinion. And I think Sansa peeps that, because he doesn't listen to her. I think Sansa is going to do some sneaky shit in Winterfell to make sure that the North stay in the North. And I'll just leave it at that, because I don't want to keep going on about Sansa. I think we all basically showed the good things about Sansa and the bad things about Sansa. So I want to go forward to Tyrion and his part of what's going on down in the North and him talking to the North. So I'm going to start off with Timo. What's your whole thing with Tyrion, as far as him trying to get the North to come on their side, him talking to Sansa as well? What else did Tyrion with Davos and Varys? Like, just give me your whole thoughts on him in this episode.
I have to address this whole Cersei thing.
Go ahead.
I have to defend my family. I have been defending my family since season 1, episode 1. And everybody has been hating on Cersei. Everybody hates on Jaime. Everybody hates on them so much. But yet, like, when Sansa does it, it's okay. Because reasons. But when Cersei does it, oh, she's an evil bitch. And she's like, oh my God. She's so bad. She's so evil. She is the mad queen. And so Sansa is a little girl trying to act like Cersei. She wishes she could be like Cersei. It's like, that's something, she's trying to act like that, but she's not. Far from it. She'll never be a Cersei.
But that's who taught her how to be like that, was Cersei.
Yeah,
Cersei was telling her how you have to play people. You shouldn't trust anyone. You shouldn't love anyone but your children. Those are things Cersei told her.
So then you either love Cersei, then you need to, like, give Cersei respect too, or at least defend her. Because I've been going hard for my family for years. Like, because everybody hates on Cersei so hard, but now it's like Sansa doing the same shit, and everybody's like, oh, like, it's okay because so and so and so and so. And it's just like, man, Anyway,
I always thought that it was strange that people who like Cersei hate Sansa because they act the same. That's why I'm like, if you don't really care for Sansa, how can you like Cersei? And if you don't care for Cersei, how can you like Sansa? They are literally
smarter. Cersei's smarter, and Sansa thinks she's smart, and Cersei's actually been through stuff. Sansa, anyway, that's no.
Though I mean, every character's been through some stuff that's still standing.
But everybody acts like Sansa's been through the most. But I think I'm actually on with this conversation. Surprisingly, I'm actually like leaning towards Team Creepy Bran. Like, fuck all this Westeros politics stuff. Like, let's just like
that was my favorite.
Like, why are we like trying to deal with why are we still on politicking? Like, honestly, I'm kind of with Bran right now. So with the whole Tyrion, Varys, and Davos, that was a group that I didn't know I wanted to see together, I guess. I liked their conversation. The whole nothing lasts thing with Varys. Varys has been looking very just sad and very just, I don't know, scared of everything lately. He like very like not in control like he used to be. You know, like he used to, like after rewatches, he used to be so, you know, kind of in control, and the last few seasons he's just kind of has no control whatsoever. But I mean, it was nice. It didn't last too long, which was good. Kind of the pacing with that was all right. The jokes about the balls and stuff, it felt more, yeah. Well, yeah, like the no ball. It felt like Tyrion didn't sound as like joking. If that makes sense, he sounded more mean. I don't know. Like, yeah, it's like everybody, like I don't know. Like, people get north and they just become just like they all just become like mean bitches up in north. I don't know. Like, I don't know. So that's all I have to say about that, I guess. So, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. With Tyrion, I think like the main thing I thought was crazy, or the main thing where it seemed like Tyrion doesn't understand everything, is that when he stood up to explain to the North what was going on, and I'm like, you're the last person. Like, they still remember the Red Wedding and know that the Lannisters had something to do with that. So I think he was like the wrong person to stand up to try to make people understand. And then him adding on like, oh, and Lannister army is coming too. Like, it just, I didn't get why he didn't sense the room. And you can tell that, yeah, he knows how to play the game. He knows the South, but when it comes to the North, it's a different breed. What do you think, Beauty Queen, about Tyrion in general this episode? Damn.
Telling.
I will agree with Sansa. I used to think he was clever. He's not as clever. He's not as clever as he thinks that he is. And I think he's enamored with the idea of Dany, and Dany being queen and him being hand, and him having some sort of, I won't say power, I think some sort of acceptance and belonging, that he thinks that all of these all the maneuvers that he's doing is supposed to garner him some sort of acceptance. But I
feel like he's okay. He was there.
Yeah, I couldn't. I kind of feel sad about how he's coming off. I just felt sad all the way around about how some of these characters came off this episode. It saddens me because I really don't have any favorites. But then again, I mean, because I like every single character, because they each have something that they bring to the table. And there's some things about each and every character that I wish that I don't like. You know what I mean? They do some stupid things. They do some things that really put question marks over your head. but I don't hate them. You know what I mean? I don't hate them at all because I think they each have a story. And in the show, I'm trying really hard not to bring book Tyrion because that's what I know more than I know show Tyrion.
Definitely not the
same. So for me in the show, it's, you know, I'm really sad the way that they portrayed him. They've portrayed him last season, and that they portrayed him this season. He is a very he's very politically astute. He's a very politically astute individual. He's not dumb by any means. But it just seems to me that, and he's not the only character that I'm noticing this about. This is just me noticing. I'm not saying that's what is this. Is I'm noticing. It just seems to me that every character that centers around Dany seems to be slightly off of what their game is supposed to be, to kind of give her the bigger edge, because I guess she's supposed to be the bigger character. You know what I mean? It's kind of like they're dumbed down to a certain degree in order for her to seem a little bit more elevated. I don't know if that I'm using the right terminology, but that's how it's coming off to me. So to me, in all of his interactions, he doesn't seem to be using his political acumen in how he is talking to people. Like his conversation with Varys, it's kind of like my brother talking with my other brother. You know what I mean? There's the both of them are supposed to be master of words, but yet they're using like really dumbed down language to banter. It kind of, I was kind of I didn't like that. And in his interaction with Sansa, that was a little lackluster for me. I was expecting more. I was expecting more from him actually, but that didn't happen. I mean, I don't know. Maybe because this is kind of like the setup episode, so they're kind of like playing it safe and keeping things kind of like pretty low key. But you know, as a lover of these characters, I have a certain level of expectation, and I know this is just their interpretation of how they play, how those characters are supposed to be. I expect them to always come big, especially this is the last season. I expect almost every, I'm not saying all scenes, but I expect almost every scene to give me something, because once it's done, it doesn't come back anymore. That's it. So you didn't really give it to me that season. So this season, I'm expecting you to come big. And so he felt, for lack of a better term, he fell short in a lot of his scenes.
That's so petty. Oh, B, what do you think about just Tyrion in general in this episode?
I think Tyrion did it on purpose. I think he's trying to sabotage. And I know it's like, well, at this point, like your political sabotage will do more harm because, you know, we have people, not people, we kind of have like humanoid figures that want to come and wipe us all out, you know? But I feel like he did it on purpose just because this is Tyrion Lannister that we're talking about. This is well-read, extremely calculated Tyrion effing Lannister, and he decided to get his little ass up and walk to the front of that room and be loud and wrong. You know, like that kid in math class, and you know you don't know the answer. Do not put your hand up. Do not say the answer. You looking at him like, yo, you my homeboy, but don't say that shit. That shit is wrong. That is wrong. And they go up there and they say it, and it's loud and wrong. That's what he did. Like, there's absolutely no way that Tyrion did not know that he shouldn't have stood up and said anything. If nothing else, if you're going to stand up and talk about Jon and him being good and how he risked his life, fine, cool, do that, salve. But for you to immediately say some shit like, oh, and the Lannister army is coming, you literally made it sound like it was an invasion of the North. We brought the largest host ever on the freaking planet, right? and 2 full-grown dragons, right? And the Lannister army is coming. I'm sorry. This kind of sounds like an invasion. It's starting to feel like an invasion. Like and people have to wonder, okay, well, after this huge fight for Winterfell, like, are we now going to have to fight for the North again because of, the Southern influence? Like, that's the concern, I would think, for the Northerners. So for Tyrion to say that, I just feel like, being who he is, someone that you can take to Marine and literally come up with a plan for ending slavery in 7 years. You trying to tell me that he didn't know that he shouldn't have said that the Lannisters are coming north? After the Targaryens are already there, he had to. And I just feel like he did it on purpose. Like, and it's just like how when Davos, Varys, and him are sitting there and they're watching Dany and Jon talk before they do the whole dragon thing. That's baby Wildling, y'all. She in the back.
Oh, she's so cute.
Thank you. Before, like, they went flying or whatever, they saw them talking. And Tyrion said, they're talking about, well, they don't want old people telling them what to do, basically. And Tyrion was like, well, I'm not that old. I'm not as old as you. And it's like, but you are, though, bro. You got to take yourself out the game. You're still in this I love Dany thing, right? And it's not going to happen. It's not going to work. And whatever it is that you're trying to do, it's not going to work. And I think he kind of needs to accept that, because I think he's still feeling Dany. And so there's some resistance to Jon and Dany and the marriage thing, which honestly should have been something that they talked about before even coming north. Like, this is the largest, you know what I'm saying? The North is larger than all of the other kingdoms put together, right? This is what you're trying to get. And you're trying to get kings it would make more sense for y'all to get married any damn way, because there's not going to be very many people left by the end of this whole war for the Dawn Part 2 thing. So I don't know. Now I want to keep rambling, but that's what the issue is for me. Tyrion, I think, did it on purpose. I don't know when we're going to figure out why, but there's no way in the hell he didn't know. If hearing in there, everybody talking all that stuff, little Mormont, everybody said something like, yo, we have an issue with you coming back here as not a king. For you to step up there and say, yep, you ain't a king, and we brought everybody to this mug. Like, you did it on purpose.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, that little girl almost called John a bastard. I don't know if y'all caught that.
No.
But I was like, girl, she said, we came back up. I don't know. I was like, little girl, like, you cool with cat, like, chill. AK, what do you think about the whole Tyrion, him talking to me?
Go ahead, Timo.
Can I add something to Lady D? When she said that Tyrion did something, said that on purpose, because remember that just made me think about that last scene. Was it last season when he gave that look while Jon and Dany were getting on or whatever, and he gave that look, and then they said that somebody's going to betray her or something this season. So it just made me think of that when she said that.
It could possibly.
So that'd be interesting. I hope so, because that was it.
So, AK, what do you think about overall Tyrion, with him trying to speak up for them in the North, him talking with Sansa, him talking with Varys and Davos? What do you think in general?
In general, Tyrion needed to have all of the seats.
I agree.
Every last one of them. Like I said last night on Teflon Show, Dany is going to be betrayed, and it's going to be Tyrion. He's already been working on it, in my opinion. I think when she called him out at Dragonstone, she was exactly right in her thinking. Like, yeah, you're fighting against your family, and you never bet against your family. Remember that? So it's his track record has just been going downhill, loss after loss, and fuckery after fuckery, and it's gonna end up blowing up in his face eventually. But the whole thing with him and Varys and Davos, I guess it was all right. They needed to have some randomness, I guess, to keep people interested. I don't know what exactly their plan was with that. And quite honestly, the interaction with Sansa and Tyrion, I didn't really pay that much attention to. It was just, Tyrion is just like Manaro said, he's so meh right now. Like, when the character's lost a lot of his luster. I'll say that he's losing his muchness.
Yeah, I think that when it comes to Tyrion, he's playing the game like he's always kind of played it, but I think the big thing that's different is that Tywin's dead. He doesn't have that power backing him up. So certain moves that he used to be able to make, it was cool because it was like, yeah, that's a threat, but we also know we got to deal with your father if we deal with you. And now that Tywin's dead, they don't have that threat. So it's kind of like, I think he's still playing the same way, but it don't have the same hold that he used to. And I think he has to start to move differently and play this game differently, because he's not playing with the same players he used to play, like with his sister and his father and all these older lords. You're playing with new characters who are playing the game entirely different. And I think if he doesn't catch on to it, he is going to be gone, or somebody's going to outmaneuver him, which I kind of think is going to be Sansa that's going to do something. Or I don't know. It's either my mind goes two ways. Either him and Sansa are going to do something, or she's going to go against Tyrion in some way. It's 50-50 with me on that. As far as the conversation with him and Davos and Varys, Davos made good points. He was saying, he talked about a proposal, like, in a way, it was like, have you ever thought about just putting these two together to rule, instead of just saying you have to pick one or the other? And so I like that little conversation, but I agree with you that there's a little something off with Tyrion, but I think it goes back to he doesn't have the power of the Lannister behind his words. So it's not that much. He's not that much of a threat. His words don't hold that much. And I'm trying to think what else. In the conversation with him and Sansa, I think he really needed to hear that, because he's been playing like he knows everything and he's got this in the bag and all of that. But every time he's done something, it's always gone against him. Something went terribly wrong. Like he tried, like you said, he tried to end the slavery, saying, I'll give you 7 years, and they didn't go for that. Then Dany had to come and rescue him on that situation. And then you have this where he's speaking about, and the Lannister are coming. It's like, that was entirely, you're putting way too much on the North. You're bringing an entire massive army of the South here, and then you're adding on more to it. And just like it's known that it's not good when North goes South, it's not really a good sign when the South comes North as well. It's always something bad that happens to the North. So I'm with you, AK. He should have just sat down. Maybe he should have been the one to talk to people, like when they weren't in the room itself, and talk to individual people to get to know him, or to speak to him about it. But just talking to him out there, it's like, that was not the time nor the place, or your place at that. But go ahead.
I think he should have remembered the last time he was at Winterfell.
I just wanted to follow up with a point. I think also there's this sense that they thought that once they all arrived, that they were going to be received and welcomed as saviors and heroes, and it wasn't the reception that I guess they thought they were going to get.
I don't know why he would think
I don't know why they would have thought.
I guess they're it just seems that everybody's falling back on, we got these armies, we got dragons, and you're supposed to, just love us for that, or just, be happy that we're here, because we're here, we've got these armies and these dragons to come and help you, and you're not acting like you appreciate it. And I think, again, the big point that is being missed is, it's not the armies or the dragons that's the problem. It's the context under which those armies and those dragons are here that is the problem.
Yeah, because I think even though you have to think about the army of the dead, because that is a big issue. It's like, if you win, you have to start thinking what happens after that. So, but I want to move on to Bran, because Bran was my favorite in this whole episode. Y'all know I love his creepy ass. I love him. Bran was staring everyone down. He was staring Tyrion down, made that dude scared. He definitely stared down Jaime. Jaime just knew, oh, I came in here and no one saw me and life's all good. And Bran's like, bitch, I know what you did last season or whatever. And I loved how even though like Sansa and Danny were going back and forth, and Bran's just like, fuck this shit. We don't have time for this. The dragon has the Night King has your dragons. The wall is dead and the dead are coming. Like, y'all can have this bullshit. We need to get to business. And even Danny was shook. Bran was creeping everyone out. I hope he creeps everyone out this season. He's creeping people out and not even saying shit. So you know what, Timo, you start first, but you gotta admit, Fran was just good this season. I know Jamie should have pushed him out the window, but it was fun that he creeped him out.
Well, no, I love the fact that, because I didn't catch it on the first watch, that when he said, I'm waiting for an old friend, and like when he saw Jamie, I didn't catch that at all in the first watch. It wasn't until like Phil's after show and they said that, I was like, oh my God, I love it even more. Like, you know, because I love the fact that I love the callback, because the season 1, episode 1, it ended with Jamie pushing Bran, and the last season, episode 1, it ends with like this stare down. Like, oh no, Bran just has like this his face for the last 2 seasons now. Like, he just gives no fucks about anything. Like, I want to know what's his future like after the Night King is handled and everything, assuming that it is going to be handled. After that, like, is he going to die? Does he know he's going to die? So that's why he really gives no fucks? Like, what? Because he really doesn't care about anybody. Like, he doesn't even care about his own well-being. He's sitting out there in the cold, just sitting there like, oh, I'm waiting for a friend. Yeah, what's up? Yeah, hey, John.
Was at night, too.
Yeah, hey, John. Yeah, hey, Arya. Yeah. Like, you are nothing to me. I mean, that's how he is. Like, his nose is higher than Sansa up in the air. You know? I mean, so I'm just wondering, like, what I would love to just get an episode or like 5 minutes just inside his head to see, like, is he just constantly seeing flashes of stuff? Is that why he just can't, like, emote anything? Or what? Now, you know Jamie's like my favorite character since season 1, episode 1. So I am very scared. I don't want him to die, but I feel like I know he's gonna die. Like, it makes sense for him to die. I just hate that he's gonna die for the Starks, but whatever. But I think Bran is going to save him next episode. But I'm wondering if he's going to tell us what Jamie's purpose is. Like, why is he waiting specifically for Jamie? He refused to talk to anybody else. Like, he doesn't talk to anyone. He wouldn't even tell John about his parentage. He's like, Sam, you go do it. I mean, and that was pretty big, which was my favorite scene. But that was pretty big, and he didn't even care about that because, again, Bran doesn't care about kings and queens and he doesn't care about that meaningless stuff. That's beneath him. So I'm just curious why Jamie's important, because it's not revenge, because he doesn't care about that stuff. So I don't know if I should be nervous or like or excited. What?
I think you should be nervous, but I think it's because I think Jamie's probably going to die saving Bran. And I think Bran knows it, and that's why he has to save Jamie. That's the only way I think I'll be okay with Jamie, is if he dies saving a Stark. Otherwise, I really can sit on a sword. Beauty Queen, what do you think about... I don't even want to talk about... No, wait. We all talked about Tyrion, right?
Yep.
No, we were talking about Bran. So what do you think of Bran, everything about him?
Bran was the highlight of this episode for me. Like, and this is where, if y'all will please excuse me, this is where I wish they would have spoke more about Brendan Rivers, aka the old man in the tree, the three-eyed crow. I think this would probably give a lot more context to why Bran is the way that he is, because he is now embodying what Brendan Rivers became as the new three-eyed raven crow, whatever you want to call it. I can't remember now.
Not a raven crow.
So he's embodying that, which means his main purpose is to destroy or resolve this whole Night King and Whites issue, because this is something that has been going on for a very long time, that he has been that the previous Brendan Rivers was pretty much like monitoring the whole time. And so now that Bran has now assumed that role, he is not really concerned about the politics. That is not at the forefront of his mind. At the forefront of his mind is, we got to resolve this issue with the Night King and all these whites, because as you can see, they are like 5 northern realms deep of dead people. Okay? And killing them is just not like killing a regular person. And every person who dies is a potential white that wakes up.
Yeah.
So unless your plan is to actually kill the snake, which is what Bran is really more concerned about, because if you kill the Night King, then you probably have a better chance of dealing with the rest of the whites, because he is the one that I think plays a huge role in a lot of the undead walking around. And now that he has one of Dany's dragons, that's even going to make it an even tougher fight, you know, for all of the people involved, all of the armies involved. You know what I mean? It's not just a bunch of, you know, dead whites. You got a freaking dragon that you got to contend with. And how effective are the other 2 dragons going to be against that one? Especially since the Night King has already formed a connection, because he was the one that raised that dragon. So he could pretty much like, the Night King is very astute and is very well versed on how to, you know what I mean, lead an army.
Yeah.
And we could talk about why that is another time. So for me, Bran, this whole episode was like, look, we need to go ahead and get all of this done, because we got bigger fish to fry. So they're doing this back and forth. Look, we don't got time for that. Night King's coming. He got one of your dragons, dummy. Look, the wall came down. We need to get this popping. We got to get rocking. Sam, you need to go tell Jon who he really is. I'm not his brother. And he, in a sense, was telling the truth. He's not his brother. Technically, he's his cousin. One. Second, I don't think Bran feels any true attachment to any of his family anymore, because he's no longer the Bran Stark that left Winterfell. You know what I mean? His role has now become a lot bigger than being a Stark of Winterfell. You know what I mean? So the way that he's so distant, and the way that he's just so very mechanical about things, I think it's because of the fact that once, you know, the previous three-eyed crow, I guess for lack of a better term, downloaded all of that information into him, he now assumed the role. So he no longer, you know what I mean, functions as the Bran Stark that we know. He's functioning on a much different level. So he's gonna be a lot weirder and more creepier, and you know what I mean. He's gonna just keep freaking people out, because he's gonna be telling them things and saying things to them that they're just like, how the fuck do you know that?
I love it. I hope he
and when he told Sam, I'm here waiting for a friend, I'm like thinking to myself, what does he need? He's waiting for a friend. And as soon as I saw Jamie walk through the door, I was like, that was so Hannibal Lecter.
Yeah, I love it. He's so creepy.
Was so Hannibal Lecter of him to do that. When Jamie walked in, I was like, Oh, that's the old friend he was waiting on. I'm surprised he didn't say, I'm gonna go have a friend for dinner.
My thing was he waiting out there the entire night till day? Because when he was talking to Sam, it was at night. And then like Jamie's like, he
not be surprised because he had a blanket. He was good. He's from the north. He spent his entire life in the north. Okay.
Oh, so unless somebody forgot, that's fucked up. That's fucked up. Somebody forgot Brad was right there.
Because he was in the same spot. He was in the same spot Sam left him. Just chilling.
That's fucked up. Okay, B, what do you think about Brad? Him creeping everyone out, him saying we ain't got time for this shit. You tell him all of that good stuff.
Well, I think the best thing was the creepy stares he was giving everyone, because I'm like, yo, what do you see? You realize that when he's looking at something like that, y'all, he's seen it before. So he's either jumped in time, or, you know, if their traveling brand thing is true, and he jumped back, whatever it is, but he's seen it. So he's staring, when he first sees Danny, he's staring at her like she's a hunk of meat or something over John, which is interesting because when he first sees John, he actually smiles a little bit and gives him a hug. So it's not the same as it was with Sansa, where he was just like, I am dead inside. Like he's kind of there. He's like alive. And so I thought it was funny because John's like, oh, look at you. You know, you're a man now. And Bran's like, kinda.
That shit was weird. Okay, how you answered it?
And John was just like, all right, I heard you was kind of weird. Moving on. This is Danny. So it's really interesting to me because I want to know what's going to happen with Danny, Tyrion, and Jaime. Because whatever's going to happen with those three characters, it's got to be something serious or significant because of the way that Bran was looking at them. He knew something is supposed to happen. And as far as waiting outside all night for Jaime Lannister, he definitely did. He definitely sat in that same spot, straight told all the servants, do not touch me. Like, I am the werewood is me, and just channeled some tree energy and just sat there. Because, like, it didn't even look like the boy blinked. Like, Jaime got off Jaime got off the horse, and Bran was sitting there like, so about that, I hear you pushing kids out of windows. Like, I'm really excited to see what's going on in there, but I really did enjoy Bran. Him saying that they don't have enough time for this and all that stuff is good, but it also makes you wonder, okay, well then why hasn't he spoken to Sansa yet about, you know, the importance of this over politics? You would have seen that before too, right? So obviously not obviously, but in my mind, after this fight is done with the White Walkers and, you know, the death that's coming from the north, it's because Bran sees this does end, but when it ends, there's going to be a fight for the realm. And we need the political astuteness. Because otherwise, he'd have just been like, yo, can it? If that was the case, he would have just told everybody everything. Yo, Sam, your brother and your father are dead. This is what it is. Da, 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 da. But he's letting these things happen, I think, on some Doctor Strange type, you know, this is the way we win. This is the end game now. I got to let stuff play out the way it has to play out in order for things to go the way they need to go. So, loving Bran.
You know, special shout out to MP. Maester Payne just stepped in the chat.
Shout out to MP. I can't wait for the MP bombs, as I call them, where he just explodes your mind with something you never even thought of, and then you watch it again, it's like, what the fuck? But love those. So AK, your thoughts on Bran, creepiness, him eye battling everyone. Like, what did you think of his whole appearance in this episode?
Bran was the MVP this episode. He is now the greatest of all time. As soon as he said, we don't have time for this, I applauded, because we really don't have time for the fuckery. We need to look at what is at hand and what we need to do right now, not argue too much on politics and whatnots. But it's, you know, that weird sound that like Hannibal Lecter makes, that like the randomness. When he looked at Jaime, that's almost what I expected to hear from the way he was looking at me. Had that weird ass smile smirk thing on his face. Bran, I don't know about you sometimes, man. Like Samuel L. Jackson said in his breakdown of the first 4 seasons, Bran tripping. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it. And I need him, though, to get in there. I know some things have to happen organically, but everybody knows that you have visions and whatnots now, so you need to be putting that into work more than just sitting there staring at everybody. I mean, I don't know about y'all, but I would not want the damn Force 10 glare from Bran at all. I don't need you trying to download my thoughts, bruh. That it's just creepy. I love it, but it's still creepy.
Yeah, I didn't like how she did her hand like that. Yeah, I'm with all of y'all with Bran. He was my favorite. Bran's my favorite character. He's my kind of weird, and I hope that this season we do get his visions again, like how they did previously, with a lot of like maybe it won't be so much as like those really quick flashbacks, but more in control, more lingering of maybe something that happened in the past. So let's go towards, I feel like we've talked about the North a lot. And if you guys want us to do another video just talking about the whole what's going down in the North, we can definitely do that, because I feel like we could talk all day long about what's going on in the North and how we feel about this person, that person, that one. Let's go to, I want to hear you guys' opinion on Sam and how he dealt with the whole thing with Sam talking to Jon about him being the king of the 7 kingdoms, like the true heir. And I also am curious about what you guys think as far as his interaction with Dany, finding out that she killed not only his father, but his brother. And I'm going to start it off with AK this time.
I was actually a bit surprised. Not really where Dickon is concerned, but with Randall. But then again, now that I think about it, I guess he did take that one a little bit in shy, because he was like, well, okay, well, I guess at least my brother will be there or something or other. And no, he's not. I totally understand him lamenting that, especially to think about where his mom and sister are. There's been no reports of them, so he probably doesn't know what's going on with them either. But I think, I don't remember the actor's name, but he did a hell of a job with emoting and how he took everything. Sam's usually not one to seek revenge or anything or of any sort like that. But when he went and found Jon, like, you could tell, like, oh, okay, you gonna do all this nonsense and think you're queen? Here's my ace in the deck. Dude, you're king. You were born a king. You were never a bastard. And we need to do something about that. You laid down your shit so we can get the help that we needed. So now, and I think this is where it's going to be that people see that Dany would sacrifice whatever for people. And I'm pretty sure that choice is going to absolutely come up once the announcement is made. And I honestly don't think that she'll waver too much on that. And I think, you know, characters like Sam and Jon and others that actually like have gotten, you know, will get in her head, they'll see how that's going to turn out. But Sam, that acting is just awesome. There's not too much bad I can say with him.
Yeah, the thing where he, like, the first hit where it was like, oh, I killed your daddy, he was like, it hit him, he was kind of messed up, and then it was like that, but then it hit like, and I killed your brother, and he's like, and then you start to think, you know, is Dany really a good ruler? Because this is something that Tyrion told her, like, you should have let them sit. Perhaps the father should have died, but the son could have chilled. Like, it's all about her approach. She's going about it so differently than she did when she was in Essos. But I think that's going to play a big factor later on in the season, because, you know, I was about to call him by his real name, but Sam, he was the one that got everyone at the Night's Watch to really be on Jon's side when it came to, you know, him being Lord Commander. it wouldn't pass me if he starts to talk to the North people to get them back on John's side. So when it comes down to it, they're like, no, this is our true leader. And then it also, I love the line where he says, you know, you lay down your crown for your people. Will she do the same? And I don't know if she would, but she's always preaching about it's hers by right, by name. But when you find out that you really don't have the claim and it's someone else's, like, do you put your pride to the side, or do you still keep going? Or do you just keep going? So I'm gonna go with you, Timo. What do you think about the whole Sam? Because I know that you did love his scenes.
Yeah, this Sam to me was MVP for this episode, because like this is my favorite scene. This is part of the reason why I love this episode, because I could not believe that they dropped this bomb on the first episode. Like Sam telling John who his parents were. Like, I did not think that was going to happen episode 1 at all. So my heart like kind of skipped a couple of beats when it was happening. I was like, oh my God, this is happening. Like, it's happening. And as a book reader, this is actually happening. Like, I kept saying that to my TV. But like I said at the beginning of the stream, just goodness, Kit Harington and John Bradley, they've come such a long way. Oh my God. Like, I just wanted to cry when he found out that his father and brother died. I wanted to cry with him. I'm like, oh, poor Sam. And then when he told John down in the crypts, and John gave like that look like, wait, but Ned is honorable. Like, tell me he lied my whole life. Like, he gave that, like, I was like, I didn't even think about that. Yeah. So John needs to process all that. I believe that entire scene. I was just like, y'all have come a long way acting wise. Like, good job, bravo. And I could rewatch that scene over and over again. As far as Danny laying I love that line too, where she laid her crown down. I don't think so, because I don't know if everybody's seen the preview here, but I know in the preview, it looks like Jamie's on trial for killing her father, when just this episode, she told Sam she killed his father. So how, like, okay, so how are you going to sit here and have somebody on trial and you want to torture him and kill him for killing your murderous father? It's like, so I don't think she's really learned very much. So I don't think she'll give that crown away, because if anything, I can see her doing like, oh, well, let's get married because we're Targaryens. I can see her like wanting to share or something like that, but giving it up, I don't see it. But then again, I don't see John forcing it away either, because he's never been about that.
Unless he's put into that position.
Yeah, like, yeah, I mean,
they were talking about, you know, how she's so quick to just kill people and not think things through. And I'm not sure if she actually told John that she killed them. He knew that they went out there, but I don't think she said like, "Oh, I killed Ramtar," because he would have instantly told him the second he seen. Well, that was the first time they seen each other.
She didn't.
But
he said, he's like, "Oh, did you know that she killed my father and brother?" And he's like, "No, I'm so sorry." Like, that's how that scene started. Like, Sam went down there kind of pissed off. Like, I think that's kind of the reason why he dropped that bomb.
He just found out that his parents, his father and his brother died, and then he goes outside running, and then Bran's creepy ass is like, well, guess what? You need to suck that shit up, because you need to tell him who his real daddy is. And he's like, fuck. And now it's like, I got to tell you that your girl basically killed my parents and all of that. But, oh, yeah, you also have to, like, give him this huge burden. And then before they even face this huge big burden, which is the Night King.
Not just a girl, Targaryen girl. So for all he knows, she could have killed his whole family.
Right.
Like, she's a Targaryen. Yeah, she's a Targaryen. So it's a Targaryen girl. So God knows what Sam's thinking. His whole family, mother, sister, they're all dead. she burned them all, his home and everything. So the entire scene I loved. I love the acting. That was my favorite scene. Sam, MVP. I can't believe they dropped that bomb on the first episode. Like, that's.
I'm glad they did though. Like, get this shit out the way. I want to see a bunch of shit. Beauty Queen, what are your thoughts about the whole Sam scene?
I liked it, and to me, it just showed how out of touch Danny really is, and how she has to. I think her sense of entitlement is exceeding what she thinks her true purpose is. Because if we go back to the scene of where she was going to execute Randall Tarley and Dickon, Tyrion did advise her. She refused to listen to Tyrion. And I think that is a flaw in her. When she gets mad and she feels the need to flex, and mind you, when she's flexing without her dragons, she doesn't feel like she wouldn't really feel that empowered to flex. You know what I mean? Because she is the queen of many titles. Why do you need so many titles? I don't know. Maybe that kind of adds to your visions of grandeur to kind of make you seem more impressive than you probably truly are. Because like I said, the Iron Throne was the Targaryens to lose, and they lost it. And you're here under the premise that you think that the Iron Throne belongs to you, when in a sense, your family hasn't even been nowhere near. Your family drifted off into legend after your father died, because Robert became king, and because of his, lack of, because he didn't know how to be a ruling king. He wasn't a bad person. He just didn't know how to be a good king. The realm eventually fell into turmoil, and then here we are now, right? But I think that interaction with Sam kind of hits home the point about how much she doesn't really know the people that she's getting ready to rule. And and just like Timo, I wanted to cry with Sam, because the news about his father, regardless of what his relationship was with his father, it's still his dad. You know what I mean? And I think at some level, he wanted his father to accept him and love him, even though that probably never would have happened. But I think on some level, I think he still wanted some love and acceptance from his dad, right? And now he'll never have it. He'll never have that closure with his father. But I think, he probably would have been able to kind of deal with that. But on top of his father dying, you find out that your little brother also got killed. I think that kind of took it over the top. You know what I mean? And so you have to like feel for Sam, because Sam is one of the good guys. You kind of like when you see him, you just want to give him a hug. You know what I mean? He's just one of those guys. You know what I mean? And for him to receive that, and he did a really good job of accepting it and just getting out real quick out of that room. You know what I mean? He did a really good job of his emotional expression. The actor did a great job of how he expressed the emotions that he was feeling, and just like, you know what, I need to get out of here. And delivering the news to John, I like that interaction. I'm glad they got that over with. I'm glad they did it in the first episode. They got it over with. I didn't expect it to happen that way. I was expecting that him and Danny would be together when that happened, but I'm glad that it happened regardless. You know what I mean? And I like the way Kit Harington was trying to because that is a lot of information, like Timo said, to process. Mm-hmm. You find out the man that raised you as his son is not really your dad. You find out that his sister is your mom. You find out that the person that you have been having intimate relations, her brother is your dad. I
Don't
mean,
it sound like a Jerry Springer or like a Maury show happening? Like, no, my mom is really my aunt. Like, what? Like,
Did y'all catch how John received that though? He wasn't even thinking
it
on
just
that level.
that is a lot of information to process. You know what I mean? That is, and you could see the tug and pull that he is expressing with having to hear that information. And I have to say, I don't think Dany would lay her crown down for anybody, because she has been fighting. I mean, this goes back to when her and Viserys were back in Essos. They have been, her whole life has been about her coming to reclaim the Iron Throne. And I don't think her finding out that John was her big brother's son is going to be enough for her to say, I'm going to lay down my crown. She's like, well, you could either rule beside me or you're not going to rule. I could see her playing, which one of the Targaryens, was it Rhaenyra? Viserys was it Viserys the first or Viserys the second's daughter, whom he had named heir until he had a son?
Rhaenyra.
Anyway, that was part of the first Dance of the Dragons, and I could see how this becomes like the second Dance of the Dragons after the whole, like, I don't know if this will happen during, like, in simultaneously as they're trying to fight, the Night King and his army, or if this happens after. You know what I mean? I could see there being like a second Dance to the Dragons, not literal, but like, figuratively speaking, because once everybody finds out what John's true lineage is, how will Dany take that? You know what I mean? Because her whole life she's been told, and she understood that the Iron Throne was for her, and now she's gonna find out that she's been boning her nephew, and now her nephew technically has the better claim than she does. And also I agree with you, T, that Sam was hugely responsible for John becoming the Lord Commander in the Night Watch, because he understood politics. And I agree with you. I can see him kind of swaying a lot of the Northern Lords to be able to swing to John's side. Like, look, after all of this is, like, after we're done with this battle with the Night King, you just look at, this is how things are. This is what's going on, and this is what I think that we should do in order to both, to put him, forward as the true king. I could see that. I can see him doing that, making those maneuvers. The only other linchpin to that would be Sansa. How does she when she finds out that news, how does she take it, and how does she maneuver? How does she maneuver around that? I mean, because it's not just about Dany, right? It's going to be about Sansa, because Cersei to me is null and void, because she's not really going to last, to me. You know what I mean? So she doesn't really count in my brain, you know what I mean, as far as going to be one of the political players, once they're done with the Battle for the Dawn. You know what I mean? So I thought Sam's whole, I really enjoyed all of Sam's scenes.
Yeah, Sam's definitely was one of the enjoyments of the episode. Lady Diligence, what did you think of the whole Sam thing? Him telling John who he really is, him talking to Daenerys, all of that.
I think that Sam is important. Like, I don't want to ramble, but I know that we've all been through this a lot, where we've like, Sam's going to do something important. I think that was just sort of reconfirmed with this episode, because just like how Bran was thrown out that window and he couldn't remember anything about it, like who did it, what happened, whatever, the three-eyed raven or three-eyed crow, whatever, blood raven, whoever it's supposed to be in the show, blood raven's pushing him towards, don't remember any of that. You need to focus on what I'm trying to teach you. I feel like that's kind of what happened with Sam. It was like, you found out this thing, you know that she killed your folk or whatever, but you don't have time to deal with that right now. Like me as the new blood raven in this situation is trying to make sure that all you focus on is the mission, which is, fighting for the Dawn at this point. So I think that's kind of why Bran was like, yeah, go ahead and tell him. Because just like he was waiting out there for Jaime, perhaps the reason why he went out there so early was so that he would intercept Sam, because he had to know that Jaime was coming during the day. But something had to be significant for him to sit out there from that night. And I think that it was the Sam thing. Additionally, Sam being the maester that he actually is, right? Like it makes sense that he would basically shut his mouth and follow decorum and just be like, oh, okay, well, that kind of sucks. May I leave now? Like, if that's not some Grand Maester-ish, I don't know what else is. Like, that's he held it down just now. So there's that. And additionally, as far as the reveal, I know everybody's gonna hate me for this, but it is what it is. I wanted the reveal with Jon finding out about his paternity just to be a little bit better. Like, Sam kind of went down there flustered, like, don't you know? And it's like, when he said, don't you know, are you talking about like your parentage for Jon, or like what's going on with your family? So
I think it's about his family.
But yeah, that's I do think it's about his family too, because he said it like, she didn't tell you, obviously, but it's like this moment is supposed to be,
be like, check your bitch.
Yeah, check your chick, man. She's just out here killing them. But this moment is supposed to be Jon's moment. It's supposed to be his ascension into Aegon Targaryen. I think that it was supposed to be akin to what we saw in season 6 when they named him King of the North, and we had that flashback at the Tower of Joy, and it went from the baby's face to Jon's face, and they tied it all up with a nice little bow. Here is Aegon Targaryen. That's what I was expecting with the reveal. I was expecting it to be some stuff where it's like, oh snap, it's about to change things, not just you two alone in the crypts. So that was definitely one of those things that I feel like was a hit and miss. What I do think is interesting is that now it's like, well, okay, is Sam gonna have an issue with Dany now? Like, is this gonna be a long-standing thing where he really can't stand Dany? So after the war for the Dawn, is he going to be playing that political game where he kind of plays against Dany? Where he just tells everybody, look, Jon is actually the king. I have proof, blah, 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 just because he doesn't want Dany in there. So I think that's interesting. And again, I just want to say, you heard it here first. Whatever the heck Sam is about to do, it's got to be important, because out of all people, Bran wants him not to focus on anything else but what's about to happen.
But you also have to remember that what was it? Damn it, I just lost my train of thought. AK, what do you think about the whole? Oh no, what I was gonna say is that you also have to remember that even though Sam helped Jon become commander of the Night's Watch, Jon was like, no, don't do it, don't do it.
Yeah.
He didn't want. So I could definitely see Jon like, no, I'm not gonna do it, and Sam like, nah, you don't understand. You a king, you're going to be king. AK, what's your thoughts of Sam in general with what happened as far as him telling Jon about his identity, and also about the conversation with Dany?
I went already.
You did? Did I get everybody on that one? Okay, I'm trying to. We only got like 20 more minutes, so I'm gonna try to get through a few more scenes. I really wanted to talk about the opening credits, but it's so much stuff that's actually happening. Let's talk about the scene where it was with that's dealing with the actual Night King, and the whole scene where the Umber kid, Ned Umber, I think that's his name is, the whole scene, to me, I enjoyed it. It was kind of creepy. I'm with you, ladies, where it's like, yeah, I would have enjoyed seeing how they took it over to give me that action that I wanted. And I think we possibly could have got that if the episode was a little bit longer, but it wasn't. But I still enjoyed that whole scene where it just was creepy. You didn't know if the way they shot that scene, you didn't know if we were actually going to get a scene like that. And then when you see it's just dead, it's just blood everywhere. You don't see it, and then you see Tormund talking, and you just know that little boy is gonna open up his eyes. I just knew, and it still creeped me out. I love that scene, even though we didn't get that whole fighting scene and everything. I still enjoyed the fact that whole creepiness. It worked. So I'm gonna start off with AK on this one. What did you think about the whole Night King as far as him going through the last hearth? And Tormund and all of them?
I thought that was a great scene, and I honestly didn't think I needed the action, because they went in and all you saw was just pools of blood everywhere, and just that alone, the foreboding that it gives is extremely creepy. Like, my first thought was turn around and leave. There's a whole bunch of blood pooled everywhere and no bodies. Y'all know what the hell's going on. Get out right now. And yeah, I was literally on the edge of my seat until Dolores head jumped out. I was like, stay back, they got blue eyes. And Tormund was like, I always had blue eyes. Fucking Tormund.
It's funny.
I love that guy. But yeah, then with little Ned Umber, and while I was watching, when they were telling him to go back and get your people, I said, yeah, he's gonna go back, and the next thing we see him, it's gonna be blue eyes. I expected it maybe to happen on the way back to Winterfell, but they got him right in his castle. And shout out to Sam R09, that symbol that was burning with Ned once Beric stabbed him is very reminiscent of not only the spiral where the Night King was created, but also the Targaryen three-headed dragon sigil. And I find that very, very interesting. So I want to do some research and see what the meaning behind that symbol is. I think it'll be pretty cool once we find out. But yeah, that was a great, great freaking scene. I loved it.
Yeah. Timo, what did you think about? I think you told me you enjoyed that scene as well. What did you think about the last hearth, the creepiness? It almost felt like a horror movie in a sense, because you think something's gonna come out and they're gonna attack, but you kind of see just the aftermath instead. What do you think?
Oh, I'll admit they got me, because like this scene happened right after like the John and Sam scene. So I'm like all in the feels like, oh my god, I can't believe they did it. My heart is all like all mushy and beating all fast. So, you know, then they go to this. And then I'm like, oh shit, Tormund, please, Tormund, don't die. Like, that's all I kept thinking. And then you see this, and then you see no bodies. And I'm like, oh god. Then I'm thinking that little kid, which I laugh because I kind of called his death when he first climbed like the tree in the opening, like the first minute. Because you know I stay killing kids in like every show. So, I was like, yeah,
you
Jamie
and T both.
What happened?
Timo said she stays killing kids every episode, and I said, yeah, just like T baby.
Yeah, like in every show, I kill kids. So whenever he was climbing the tree, I was like, yeah, I hope he falls and breaks his neck.
He should have brought the Umbers. He should have been brought them. So it's technically his fault. He was back. It's like, nah.
So yeah, when he climbed the tree, I was like, yeah, I hope he falls. He's not Bran. He needs to fall and break his neck. And then when he went by himself, I'm like, why is he gonna go by himself? He's a little kid. No, he needs to die. So I'm already like wishing death on this kid. So that death meant nothing to me. But seeing the kid on the wall and the tension, like I felt it probably because I was like watching it like pitch black in the room, and like the little kid eyes like open and he turned all like slow. That is the part that got me, because Tormund was right there. So you know, I'm worried about, because that's another one I think is gonna die. So I'm like worried about like his well-being. I'm like, Tormund, get out of there. You know?
He had little arms, so he couldn't reach. Like he was there.
I was just like, he's gonna die.
I don't like this angle.
So in the scream, so they got me. That was like a jump scare. I'll admit it. I don't do scare movies that well, but Now the symbol, I thought the Targaryen symbol as well. And it also is the same symbol that we saw with the recreation of the
White Night King
ritual. Whenever like they made him, it's the same thing. This time it's lit on fire. So I thought like, okay, so ice and fire, right? Now they keep doing the same symbol everywhere they go. What happens if they do the symbol like at Winterfell?
Like you think something's gonna like come out or something might happen?
Yeah, and then fire is put to it, like ice and fire.
Yeah,
like,
go ahead.
Yeah, like I wonder if there's something to that. Like instead of us being told what the symbols are, I wonder if we're gonna see. And maybe that's what the Night King, he's trying to get to a spot to where he's recreating this ritual or recreating these symbols, because he's done it in multiple places now, like all over above the wall. Now he's recreated this like everywhere, like at the tree, at the so I wonder if he does the same thing, but in Winterfell, especially like in Godswood, like above the crypts of Winterfell or something, and then they light it on fire. Oh no, I know it's like really, and I haven't had time to like really perfect it, but it's just something that made me think like, interesting.
I like that. I like that idea. I think it's interesting that he was screaming, because it goes back to when they were trying to get that white last season and started to scream. So I don't know if that's like the Night King intentionally doing some of these things. And I'm all out for some reason. I think when you see those symbols, that's like their way of saying the North remembers. You always hear the Stark saying, yeah, the North remembers, but like they really remember. And I think they keep showing it like, we didn't forget, y'all created us, like this is your fault in some way. And I like the fact that the Night King is toying with them, because the Night King should have just killed them, and I don't understand why he didn't, because they were literally right there. So it goes to show you, I'm with Beauty Queen, where it's like the Night King, he knows what he's doing. Like you could tell he knows about battle when dealing with the Night King. Beauty Queen, Beauty Queen, what do you think about it?
Yeah, it was definitely a very creepy scene. I'll just make a couple of points. First of all, I was halfway expecting that kid to jump on Tormund and tear his neck off, because I would have been like, yes, the first major death. The gods have answered my prayers. A major death has occurred, but no, that did not happen. So I was sadly disappointed. Not because I want Tormund to die, but
it sounds like you do though. But we won't go there.
Look. Before the show started, I was like, I need to see a major death in the first episode. I just need them to start kicking things off. We don't have that many episodes left. I need people to start, because to me, I don't know, it's just for me, maybe I may have some sadistic reasoning that I want them to be down to their last when they go up against the Night King. And I want to see who comes out. And
I want people to die at Winterfell.
And I have a strange feeling that probably the Gulvers are not there because they cannot come.
That's interesting.
You know what I mean? I'm after seeing that scene, I'm having to think maybe they can't come because one, they probably are. I mean, because they're Deepwood Mott, right? No, they're not Deepwood Mott. They're what is the Glovers? Home or whatever it's called.
God,
anyway, wherever they are, I know it's not that far that they wouldn't be. And my thing is at the speed at which the Night King would be able to travel, because the wall technically is not that long a ride from Winterfell to get to the wall, because you're just going up you're just still traveling up the King's Road to get to the wall. So
if you look at the opening, it shows you the map and it shows the wall and then it was Last Hearth, and then it showed Winterfell. So that's
Right.
how
It's not that far. So my thinking is, I think the Night King is strategically positioning all of his whites in either in some sort of a semicircle.
Is she freezing up on y'all too?
Because to me, it would make sense to me that he is really that deep that he could surround them like in a semicircle, in almost a circle, and then come in. If you're kind of catching my drift, you know what I mean? Kind of like the same way when in last season when they were all stuck in that little on that rock in the middle of the pond, and all of the whites was surrounding them, but they weren't coming in because at the time the lake, they could fall through the lake. And it wasn't until the Hound was throwing the rocks and then they noticed that the rock slid all the way through, that's when they came in and attacked. I have a feeling that he's probably going to use that same tactic to surround Winterfell.
Yeah, I agree.
If y'all are catching my drift. So, but I don't think he's gonna. I think he's planning to do it strategically. Because, like I said, I believe the Night King is a battle strategist. So, I'm kind of hoping that they'll reveal who he is, either through some sort of Bran flashback or whatever. Because I don't think the flashback that Bran had of when the Night King was made is the Night King that we're seeing today. I think it's probably somebody else. That's just my own personal opinion. But I hope they reveal who he is, because he has some sort of battle acumen to be able to in how he's moving. And I agree that whole thing at the Last Hearth was just kind of like warning to let them know, yo, I'm here and I'm coming for you. And so, because I had to wonder, how are they moving around like that and not getting got by these whites? I mean, the whites just came through the walls, and they are deep. It's not like it's just like a few hundred of them. They are deep. I mean, deep.
Which makes me think it must be him intentionally letting them live.
Exactly.
He left that little boy there.
I think he's toying. It's like an animal toying with their food. You know what I mean? Because the more people that die, that's more fodder for him. You know what I mean? He wants people to die because you know what? That is how he grows his numbers. So, and another thing is, I'm thinking, man, wouldn't it be real creepy if we saw Hodor in summer?
Yeah, I want to see that shit. Like I said, break me this season. I want to be like, why did I even start watching this shit? Yeah. AK, what do you think about the whole Last Hearth scene?
Did that? I think it's on B.
Oh, sorry, B. What did you think about the Last Hearth?
I thought it was really weird. The whole total silence and darkness stuff. It definitely gave that creepy feeling, like you were saying. Definitely. I thought it was great to see Ed, like for us to see. Okay, we basically almost got the entire all these trailers, like in the first episode, because like you tell where every little section came from. So to see Ed, and to see Tormund and Beric together was really cool. I saw the kid impaled, and I definitely did think of, episode 1.
Yeah, with that little girl.
Ever with the little girl. Yeah, and it was like, oh, this is creepy. Like the little kid is clearly going to get up and do something, right? And then I saw him impaled. I'm like, oh, it's like a freaking nail, like a huge nail. Like they nailed him to the wall. That means like they literally have to pick this kid up, guys, impale him, and then nail him to the wall to get him up there. I'm just trying to figure out what the point of doing that was, because you raised him, right? Like you didn't leave him dead, you raised him. So I almost kind of felt like he was there as a spy, like just like how the other white that they tried to capture. You spoke about it, how it screamed, and I forgot who said it, but they were like, I think it's a call to the other ones. Was it you, Timo? I agree. I think it's kind of a call to the other ones too, and we have not really figured out how the White Walkers are controlling these whites, if it's through some sort of like skin changing, hive minded, like we don't know how it is. So for all we know, he could literally be listening through that kid. They could have put him there or whatever and just waited for someone to come because he knows he left people at the wall. Like, he's not an idiot, right? You know, you left people at Castle Black. So they get here to Lashurst and they don't find anybody but this kid that you conveniently left with a knife, even though he's impaled to a wall. Like, you know? So
MP said that the Night King could see through their eyes.
I would believe that, Mr. Payne, and the reason why is because I just cannot see. It's like surveillance, like a surveillance system. Like,
is there a werewolf?
There, right? Like, you could have chopped his body up or whatever and just had it as a part of the swirl. Why did you need to leave an intact kid there, impaled, just like the first episode? I think it's because it's like y'all security system. Y'all can see through them, hear through them, whatever. And you put him there for that.
I'm curious, does the Night King know who he was? Because that's strange that you only put him there, but it's like we know he's the title, like he had the title. But I'm like, why him of all people?
I think so. I think he knew that he was the lord of the castle, and that was a part of the message. Like, not only, like, yes, we're coming for the power, we're coming for the children too. Like, we're here to take your present and your future. All of it.
All right, so we've been on for like 2 hours, so we're gonna wrap it up. And I know we did not get to Cersei. I know we didn't even get to the opening credits, which I really wanted to talk about because I was showing like the ladies. I was like, this is the red wedding, and then it's like in the little spinning thing, there's like a comment and dragons, and then in another one there's a dragon attacking King's Landing with a little army. And I was like, we need to talk about this, but we just don't have enough time. Like I said, whenever you talk about Sansa, unfortunately, that's a whole debate. That's a monster within itself. You're going to have people just arguing. It's always a good debate, no matter what, whether you hate her, whether you love her. Sansa always brings up a good debate. But I want you ladies to let me know where people can check you out. And if you guys want us to talk more about like the whole Sansa thing or about the North, because I had so many stuff to say just on John's part about what he did and all that, let us know. We'll try to see if we could set something up just to talk more about it, because that's what we do. So Timo, let them know, like either at Instagram or maybe where they can find you on different streams at. You know, Timo be around. I'm just so happy she's back.
I know. Like, I don't have a channel, even though, like I said, when I reach 100 subscribers, I'll do a video. But
let's do it.
I know. Yeah, I'm just like a stream hopper. I just hop on people's channel randomly, so it's a surprise wherever. I'm like a stream whore, you know. I just have to say, I got my wish. I got my lion over King's Landing, and that was one of my wishes for the season. So I'm happy, and thank you for having me. I hope the next episode is good. I'm worried for Jamie, but yeah, I like the episode. Awesome chatting with you guys. Great chat, everybody in the chat. Love seeing you. Thanks for having me.
Always. My Sansa always.
I think we need to lay off Sansa. She takes too much time. And she's not even worth it. And she's not even worth the time, if you ask me. But whatever.
I said, great debate. Like, whether you hate her or love her, I always have a good debate about things in general in this series. Beauty Queen, where can they find you?
You can find me on my channel, ManaroGeek TV. I think I got some stuff on there if y'all want to check it out. And don't judge me for my ginger ale chats. Just saying.
No, judge her, okay? Because they all.
I had a great time with my ladies. Timo, I'm so glad that I got to see your beautiful, lovely face and got to talk to you, and hearing the sounds of hate emanating from your voice once again. It was such a joy. You have no idea. Keep that passion alive. Team Sansa.
Yes. And B, let them know where they can find you.
Hey guys, you can find me on YouTube under Lady Diligence, and yeah, look in the description box. T Baby usually puts it there. I'm mostly book series. I see now because of this last season, I'm probably gonna have to start doing some show theory stuff just because like this is really necessary here. Like it's getting serious these days. So check us out, and we should be doing this every week. Actually, right at 6:30 on Mondays, 6 or 6:30 every Monday. We'll be going over that Sunday's episode, and it should be about this long and this in depth. And I don't know what we're gonna do as far as questions and stuff. We're gonna do a second stream or whatever, but we'll figure it out.
I have to, because like we talk too much, and it's just not gonna happen. It's always good conversation, but we talk too much. AK, where can they find you?
You can find me on my channel. I'll be doing live reactions for the whole of the season. So if you like chatting during the episode, then swing by my page for the live stream. I got a couple things coming up. Me and Johnny Be Crazy will be doing another episode of They Deserved It in another week or so. Besides that, I'm not doing too much on anyone's panel, but you'll always see me in the chat rooms for everybody. And after this shout out, go over to Drinks and Knows Things and check out their discussion as well.
Yeah, I was trying to be earlier so we wouldn't cut into their time, but it just happened. Sorry. But anyway, thank you for joining us. We had a marvelous time, and until the next time, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. And Hail Sansa.